Hi, everyone. This is Stephanie, and I have Chelsea with me, and we are the co-founders of CS Planners.
Today, we have Michelle joining with us, and she is a podcast producer, strategist, PR. You do it all, but you really focus on connecting people. I see you consider yourself the relationship matchmaker, and I love that. Can we talk about that more? What do you mean by a relationship matchmaker?
Absolutely. So thank you both for having me today. As you said, I host podcasts, and one of my main jobs is that I connect my clients to be interviewed on various podcasts. And to me, podcasting is all about relationships. It's about creating a relationship with the host, and I'm also creating a relationship with my client, and I'm bringing the two together. So that's why I call myself the matchmaker, because I'm finding these perfect matches between clients who are experts in various topics and podcasts that have audiences that need to hear from my clients.
That's amazing. That's incredible. And how would you say, like, from launching a podcast, like what benefits would a business, like for someone just starting out?
It's one of the best marketing tools that you can have, and it's truly an inexpensive marketing tool. Your setup is going to be your microphone. If you even want to have one, you can use what you already have. And then you're just purchasing a subscription to a host like Libsyn for $15 a month. So you're reaching massive amounts of people, because millions upon millions of people across the world are listening to podcasts right now, and you get to be in their ear. You can talk about your expertise. It doesn't have to be, salesy, which is the beautiful thing about it. They can hear from you about what you're an expert on, the benefits that you bring to them, and that's what's going to make them want to work with you. So that's why I say it's the best marketing tool that you can have. And it again creates those relationships, with clients. I have clients who say that their podcast has eliminated the whole vetting process, because people know, I want to work with you. I've heard you, I've listened to what you have to say. And so I just know you're the one for me. And so it's so beneficial. It's just ridiculous.
And I also find that podcasts are a way to introduce people into like your personal lives a bit. They get to know more of your character, your personality, and pick up on your vibes a little.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you get to share part of yourself, with the rest of the world, it becomes very intimate. It's details and stuff that you normally wouldn't share with a client or, a stranger, that now people get to know you on a more intimate level than just a surface online social media or something like that.
Absolutely. So we know that launching a podcast is beneficial, but you're talking about how having guest speakers and growing connections through the podcast. So why is it important for people to be interviewing other people on their podcasts?
I don't think that you have to have interviews. I think solos are totally fine as well. But you also, by bringing on other people to be interviewed, you bring a new level to others. We're not experts in every single field. That's just not possible. So how great is it to find others who are, more experts on a certain topic? And it also brings about collaborations. Collaborations are so key when it comes to marketing your business. And, if you have somebody on, that is a collaboration, but you don't know what else it can lead to. I've had guests come on and we've co-created a course together. I've had guests come on and then have been asked to, write a blog post for someone else if they didn't have a podcast, or, I go do an interview on their show. So it creates momentum to really broaden what your reach originally is in your podcast.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
You started out in corporate aviation. How did you get from corporate aviation to being a podcast producer?
It was 18 years in corporate aviation, and I was laid off in April of 2018. And at that point, I was ready for something new. I have two little kids, and we had a nanny, and we would all travel together, and it was a lot. And I decided, let me see what there is that I can do for myself. And honestly, I didn't even know how to listen to a podcast 2 years ago. I had no idea that it was
Wow.
preloaded app in my phone. I dabbled a bit in event planning and social media because these were things that I knew. And it wasn't until someone added me to a Facebook group of a business and life coach who was launching her podcast that I discovered how to listen to a podcast. And the message was, you have a purpose in life and find your passion. And I was like, yes, I'm going to figure this out. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to do it. And after listening to this podcast over and over again and, putting it out on social media of like, oh, this message resonated with me or whatnot, the host actually reached out to me and said, do you want to start pitching me? And so that's how it started. And then it snowballed pitching into show notes and to, uploading and basically doing everything there is with a podcast.
That's incredible. That's amazing. That's so inspiring. You've learned so much in the past 2 years. That's incredible. So
I love it. Yeah.
So for those out there, can you tell us a little bit more about pitching a podcast and how do you pitch a podcast?
It's a lot of time. So first I work with my clients one-on-one. We strategize on what their key topics are. I say the more specific, the better. It's just like in your business, you want to niche down and really get specific on what you're an expert on. So nothing broad, like if you know marketing, that's fantastic. But what is it about marketing that makes you stand out from others who know about marketing? Mm-hmm. So that's step one, is we get really specific. I create what I call a pitch kit. It's like a media kit that tells, all about the client. And then I create a portion of an email that talks more about them, has all of their links in it, and some of their expert speaking topics. And then I start researching podcasts. I have, an arsenal of my own that I already know of and can connect to, but then I also research new podcasts to see what's a good fit. And I listen to them. Every single podcast I pitch to, I actually listen to. Wow. And I will find an episode that either I find relatable or it's relatable to my clients. And that's how I start the pitch email. It's, I enjoy your podcast and this episode really reminded me of this or resonated with me this way. And I connect with them because it's about building a relationship. So I want them to know that I'm not cold pitching you. I have truly listened and I appreciate what you've done. And this is why this is a good fit. And then comes the little generic part, but everything's personalized, every single email that goes out. And then I follow up. I don't follow up right away. I don't believe in, next day, what's going on? Because most hosts also are business owners or they, have a corporate job. And so they're not just sitting there waiting for people to, pitch to them. So I give it about 3 weeks and then I'll follow up, and I do 2 follow-ups, and you'd be amazed at how it's in the follow-up that they go, oh yes, I wanted to have your client on. I just forgot the email or I didn't get to it. And then we go from there.
That's amazing. And how do you help people grow their podcast?
I am a big believer in repurposing your content. So one of the main strategies that I work with clients on is how to be in multiple places at one time. Instead of creating a blog post and an Instagram post and a Facebook post and a LinkedIn post and a Pinterest pin, instead of creating something new for each platform, we take one episode and we repurpose it on all of these different platforms. I finished launching a course for podcasting and had 15 ways to repurpose an episode, and I'm actually working on a course just on repurposing and now have 16 ways to repurpose an episode. So to be in 16 places at one time with one piece of content is huge. And you're reaching different audiences because different people use different platforms. So not everyone's going to be on Instagram. Not everyone's going to be on Pinterest. That's, really how you grow a podcast, is by, being everywhere that a possible listener is going to be.
That's incredible, which is so true. I think people think, okay, well, I have a podcast, that's done, and move on to the next thing. But you can use things in so many different ways, whether it's even recording it and putting it on YouTube and things like that as well, or creating blogs from it.
Exactly.
I would love to take your course to see like what other ways
Yeah.
to do it. Like you might as well, if you already have the material, you might as well find other creative ways to use it again.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it goes beyond even podcasts when it comes to repurposing. You know, if you have a blog post, you can do so much, you know, from that on all
Yeah.
of these different platforms. You know, yes, it would eliminate something like YouTube or the podcast in general, but there's so many different ways to be in multiple places with
Mm-hmm.
just one piece of content.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that theory as well. Now, for many business owners who are just starting off, what would you say for those that are insecure of like what to say, how long it should be? Like those, what are like the main concerns that people have, and what is your inspiration for them to encourage them to keep moving forward?
There's definitely a lot of fear starting out, whether it's, you know, people won't listen to me, what I have to say is not important enough.
Mhm.
You know, these are, what if I don't like how I sound? These are all of the fears that are around starting a podcast. And I say, just do it. Every one of us is unique. So even though we can all speak on marketing per se, the way we tell our story is different.
Mhm.
And the story, the journey that each of us have is different. And there's definitely somebody out there who needs to hear from you specifically. You know, I've said exactly what I'm saying. And I had someone last week say, I've heard that over and over before, but the way you said it and the passion in which you said it is what made me go, oh, she's right. You know, there's talk show hosts galore, but they keep popping up, you know, because
Yeah.
every one of us is different. So it's important to recognize that somebody does need to hear from you, and you're truly being selfish if you don't just do it.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that too.
Because it's true, a lot of us are worried about being selfish, but if you put it into that perspective, is you're selfish if you're not sharing your inspiration and your wisdom. That's a great way of like changing your thought process.
Yes.
I love that.
Now, for podcasts, is there a way to monetize off a podcast?
There are, and you can have sponsors which take a lot of downloads. So you know, it's sad when I have clients come to me who say, you know, I want to make thousands of dollars off my podcast. You're not going to. You're not going to monetize it in that way. People aren't going to just pop up wanting to do commercials and mid-rolls on your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The way that you monetize a podcast is having your business connected to it. So going back to, you know, having clients no longer vetting you because they heard your podcast, that's going to be a way. If you have a course that is connected to your podcast or that you can promote on your podcast, that's going to be a way to monetize it. So it's really different arms that come into play versus, oh, I'm going to have all of these commercials and sponsors on my show. That's how you're going to monetize it. It's going to be different. It's going to be more outside and connecting it to your podcast.
So it's kind of like a funnel. You start here, they get to know you here, and you're directing them to your services.
Yes. Yeah. Somebody recently said to me that the hourglass theory, where as you niche down and the hourglass, you know, gets smaller, then it's abundance when it comes down to the money that comes with it.
Yeah,
That stuck with me. Yeah. That's on an
that.
upcoming episode of mine. Yeah.
I love that.
It's a great way of putting it too.
Yeah.
So if someone's starting a podcast, what are the most important things that they need to know and have prepared for before they even begin?
The main things that you need before you begin is going to be your name, your description, some cover art, and you need 3 episodes recorded before you can launch, before you should launch, because it's easier to get approval on Apple that way. You will need a host, such as my favorite is Libsyn. I promote them everywhere. I host with Libsyn as well. And the reason for a host is because you can think of them, you're here at the top, you put your episodes on Libsyn, and then they distribute it to everybody. So it's like the one-stop shop. And so that's why you need them. You can't be everywhere without a host. Those are the main things. And then I would say you need to know that you need to be consistent. You're going to be creating content, and, you know, the schedule's up to you, whether you want to go once a week, twice a month. it's completely up to you, but you need to remain consistent so that your listeners will know that, oh, Michelle only does something once a week versus, oh, your episode was here, but now I haven't heard from you in 3 weeks. What's going on?
Yeah. And I feel like that helps gain the following too, because it's like a TV show, you're expecting it every day and you go there like excited for that entertainment.
Exactly.
Do you have any piece of advice for anybody that's just starting a business? What's something that you feel you wish you knew when you were starting out?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's so much, for me, coming from the corporate world, it was such a learning curve to the online business space because, the language is different. There's different platforms that you have to learn. I built my own website. So, I would say really get organized, get your website going, because even if you're just going to do a podcast, you need a website for your show notes and somewhere to direct people. So get yourself organized with a website, get your finances in order, start tracking your receipts, your income.
Yeah.
I use QuickBooks Online. It's beautiful. It's automated. Just do it. It's simple.
Yeah.
I cringe when I hear people who are like, oh, I haven't done my receipts in a year. It's like, come on, attach it to your credit card and it's done. Just get organized in those, ways, and then streamline it. It'll be so much easier, a year from now when you have all of these things done. Write down your processes for everything you do. So if you have a podcast and you're the only person, great, but write down step by step what you're doing so that when you are ready to hire a team, they can just come in and read your process. It makes life so much simpler. And that's with a podcast, with your website, with anything that you do in your business. You should have a process written down. And I've done that for repurposing. Everything has a process. And I'm very organized in that kind of a way, and type A. Like, I want it written down step by step by step. So you can literally have anybody come in and it's plug and play. And that will make life so much easier.
And that is important. We've had clients come to us for our VA side, and it's a lot of these people who are making lots of money, and they're like, I just hired a bunch of people. I don't know how it's done. Can you write the procedures, the policies around this? And it is something that at some point you're going to need to do it. So start from the very beginning, because your life will be easier.
Yeah. I also think it's important that you know how to do everything in your business.
Yeah.
You should know how to update your website. It shouldn't be, I don't know, somebody else created it, so I don't know how to upload a blog post, or I don't know how to change the logo. You should know how to do everything in your business. So get your hands dirty, jump in and do it and learn it. And, that goes along with writing the processes, because you can't write the process if you don't know how to do it.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
And where did you learn most of your information from? Did you watch videos? Did you take courses? How did you learn how to do all of this?
I am one who jumps in with both feet, and I will figure it out. Google is my best friend.
Yeah.
My stuff is all on WordPress, but I've had a client who's Squarespace. I'm like, I don't know. Google it. You'll figure it out, yeah. And trial and error. Just don't make it live yet. But yeah, it's been a lot of self-teaching and, YouTube videos and just Googling, because everything's out there. Somebody has already done it and they've recorded it for you. So go listen, go read it.
And on the other side, if you've been looking for information and couldn't find it, but you figured out how to do it, now you have content to talk about.
Yes.
So you have a free gift to offer our viewers. Can you talk to us about what that is?
Yes. So I have a checklist on what you need to launch your own podcast. And then I have a pitching checklist. So, what you need to do that for yourself as well, because they're all doable. My job is to save you time and do it for you, but it's also things that you can do for yourself.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And we are going to link everything below, so you can get the gift below. We're going to attach all of your social medias and where they can find you, because if someone's wanting to start a podcast, it sounds like you're the go-to person for it.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for meeting with us, Michelle. We really appreciated you taking the time to talk to us and teach us more about podcasts as well.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Thank you. And we'll hopefully talk to you soon.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.